So Marco Rubio made the rounds over the weekend as well. Did an interview with Welker over the weekend. And Marco Rubio was asked, does the U.S. still want to make Canada the 51st state? Which is obviously in most situations not a serious question to ask. And any reasonable person that doesn't wear the MAGA Trump knee pads would say, no, that's not serious. That's not going to happen. But not Marco Rubio, because he has sold his soul and he has absolutely no backbone at all. Have a listen to the way he tried to answer Welker's question. Listen to this.
Have you taken any steps to carry out President Trump's plans, as he has said he would like to annex Canada? Have you taken any steps in that direction?
No, I think what the president has said, and he has said this repeatedly, is he was told by the previous prime minister that Canada could not survive without unfair trade with the United States. At which point he asked, well, if you can't survive as a nation without treating us unfairly in trade, then you should become a state. That's what he said. They'll have their elections this week. They're going to have a new leader, and we'll deal with a new leadership of Canada. There are many things we work with cooperatively on Canada on, but we actually don't like the way they've treated us when it comes to trade. And the president has made that point when he responded to the previous prime minister in regards to this.
So does the U.S. still want to make Canada the 51st state?
I think the president has stated repeatedly he thinks Canada would be better off as a state. And he has said that based on what he was told by the previous prime minister, who said Canada can't survive unless it treats the U.S. unfairly in trade.
All right.
Absolutely and positively ridiculous and embarrassing. There is no way that Marco Rubio feels that way. Again, he's trying to cover for Donald Trump, the orange orangutan. These people in his administration, they've sold their soul to the devil, man. They really have. And here's the point in the interview where Rubio starts talking about Russia, and he makes a statement that I think everybody has known for a very long time. But now Marco Rubio finally concedes something about Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Listen to this.
Who now says he wants to deal with President Putin, quote, differently through banking or secondary sanctions. Will President Trump follow through with imposing new sanctions against Russia?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to, the president, we have multiple options, frankly, to address this and to deal with all of this, but we don't want to get to that point. This is still not the time. I think what the president is saying and has been saying for some time now is he is aware that he has these options. People ask him about it all the time, but what he really wants is a peace deal. He wants the dying and the killing to stop.
Yeah, well, we're pretty much aware that he doesn't want to impose new sanctions on Russia because Russia isn't giving any concessions to us, not giving any concessions to Ukraine. And when Donald Trump one day says Vladimir Putin wants peace, the next day there's an airstrike where innocent women and children die. What a joke you are, Marco Rubio. You are an embarrassment to the country. Oh, yeah, and then comes Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who is another complete imbecile, another MAGA moron who never should have been appointed to her position. And weeks after the administration promised 90 trade deals in 90 days, absolutely none have happened yet. And listen to Brooke Rollins and what she says about that.
On the trade and on the deals. Yes, for sure. On the deals, we have 100 countries that are knocking on the door. I believe, I'm not in the room, I'm not negotiating the trade deals, but my understanding is we should have several this week that are coming forward that are very, very close. China is a very important one. Every day we are in conversation with China, along with those other 9,900 countries that have come to the table. Many countries have already flown to Washington and are meeting with Secretary Lutnick, meeting with Secretary Bessent, meeting with our USTR, Jameson Greer, and there is a tremendous amount of progress on all fronts that we'll see again more this week.
Really, 100 countries are knocking on the door. Can you name one? Why is no deal put in place? Not one deal has been put in place. Donald Trump said these countries are kissing his ass, hasn't named one world leader, hasn't named one country. But you see, what she's doing is she's spewing the talking points that Caroline Leavitt and the communications staff are telling her to say. There hasn't been one deal that has been put in place. You guys promised 90 deals in 90 days. There hasn't been one. It's been over 2 weeks, you imbeciles. And Secretary Rollins lied live on CNN over the weekend as well, because, as you know, and I'll give you a little bit of background on this, in the last month, or the last several weeks anyway, Donald Trump has lied and has been constantly saying that he has been in talks with President Xi. And then China said that's not true, that's a lie. President Xi has not spoken to Donald Trump. And then when Trump got that, he was asked about it again, and he said, I really don't want to talk about this, but we've spoken a lot. So what's the truth? Well, Brooke Rollins lying on CNN about communications with China, even though China said they haven't had any communications with the United States on any deal being made. Certainly not the president of the United States. Have a listen to this.
You said that there are talks with China every day. Who are the talks with and at what level? Because the Chinese are saying that's not true.
Well, according to our team in Washington, the conversations are ongoing regarding multiples of trade, but here multiples of the trade goods that are coming out and going in. But the bottom line with China is this: they need us more than we need them. They need our money. They need our markets. They need our consumers and all of the above. So the president has been, I believe, exactly correct. I mean, he is the ultimate deal maker. You know, it's a time where we've got to hold China accountable. And in agriculture, year upon year, decade upon decade, our goods have been taken advantage of. The trade disparity, the non-trade tariffs on top of the tariff numbers are insane, whether it's Argentina or China or Brazil or the UK.
Would you like me to interpret exactly what she said there? According to my staff in the communications department, meaning the communications department is lying and giving me talking points to say on the air. That's exactly what's going on here. Listen, Brooke Rollins is another imbecile who should have never been appointed to that position. She has absolutely no idea what she's doing, and she's getting talking points from Caroline the Liar Levitt. That's exactly what's going on here. There's no evidence, no proof that China has been speaking to Donald Trump or anybody in the government for that matter. There have been zero deals that have been made. The art of the deal, there have been no deals that have been made, and I guarantee you eventually Donald Trump is going to cave because there is no art of the deal, okay? There is no art of the deal. It's the art of lying. It's the art of manipulating people. It's the art of a snake oil salesman. And Marco Rubio said it best when he said if Donald Trump didn't get a $500 million company from his dad, he'd be selling fake gold watches in Manhattan. That's exactly who Donald Trump is. But he's still doing that to an extent. He's selling the Trump Bibles made for $3 in China for $60 in the United States of America. He's selling the trading cards. He's selling pieces of his suit. When he took his mugshot. I mean, this is exactly who this guy is. The gold sneakers. He's a swindler. He's a snake. He's a snake oil salesman is exactly what he is. And you're getting lying and talking points from the White House, even to people like Brooke Rollins. And it's an embarrassment. Speaking of embarrassment, SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler, somebody else in Donald Trump's administration that has no business in being there. That's a complete MAGA imbecile. She's making the claim, and this is like well over the top, right? She's making the claim that these tariffs are helping small businesses. Folks, there are small businesses across the country that are losing their livelihoods. Many employees are losing their jobs, and small businesses have gone belly up. I've had people call into the show talking to me about that, even Republicans. But that's right. The SBA administrator, who has no business in being there, Kelly Loeffler, is making the case on national television over the weekend that these tariffs are actually helping small businesses. They curl themselves into a pretzel. Another talking point from the White House. Have a listen to this.
Already. But what I'm hearing from small businesses is they want that level playing field. They know that this is a short-term situation that is going to be replaced by a much brighter long-term, whether I've been in small businesses that are hardware stores or small manufacturers, they are excited about Made in America. They understand the emergency we were under because we no longer made our own chips, our defense products, medical devices, things like that that are life or death, that we need to make sure we're investing in all of that. And that's what's happening right here in New York and across this country. Yeah. And what I'm excited to see is the energy behind it. We're working to bring the skilled workforce to bear because there's so many needs in manufacturing. Manufacturing has really become an extension of technology. We need more of that in this country. It's really exciting.
Is there any reasonable person in this country with an IQ over 20 that would believe that these tariffs are helping small business? Is there anybody in this country that believes that sort of nonsense? Really, anybody? If so, give me a call because we're going to take phone calls on the other side. And why these tariffs would help small business? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that one. But there's a lot that we've been talking about today, and I am going to open up the phone lines. We're going to take a quick break, and here's what we're talking about. The number to call, 702-221-SAVE, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. So you have the White House again that spoke time and time again that there'd be 90 deals in 90 days. 0 deals have been made with any countries in regards to these tariffs. You have the president lying about interaction with China and President Xi. And now he's saying, well, there's going to be a peace deal in Ukraine in 2 weeks, when he said before he ever became president, he would pick up the phone and he could end this war in 24 hours. And you have all these members in Trump's administration that are just embarrassing themselves on national television every single day. They curl themselves into their MAGA pretzel wearing the Donald Trump knee pads, and they embarrass themselves, and they lie. And that is why Donald Trump's approval rating has now dipped under 40%. It's 39%, the lowest approval rating in over 7 decades for any president that's been in office for 100 days. There's a reason for that, because there's a lot of people in this country that are struggling. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their 401ks. The stock market, the Dow has plummeted. Inflation has not gone way down. Gas prices have not gone way down. And the American people are suffering because of it.